What's going on, everybody? The live stream has started. You can see my desk is a mess. Hopefully, audio is working all right. Didn't actually test that beforehand. Sounds like I'm a little loud, but we're getting there. Anyway, there is no actual kit build tonight. I'm just going to work on some stuff. Today, what ended up being, well, actually, today and yesterday both ended up being a little bit hectic as we ended up unexpectedly dealing with a sick pet, which is always the worst. So, um, basically, I would have, while I could prepare days in advance, normally I prepare the day of or the day before. I knew what kit I was building and all that this week, but then with last night and today, it didn't happen. So, um, Echo. Some people say Echo, some people say it's good. So, um, we'll see how everything comes back in. Sometimes that Echo clears itself up. We'll see if that's the case. I've got a good bit of echo. We'll turn that down. That audio should be off. Oh, let's see if that works. That changed one setting on my input. Anyway, Nicole she's going to just still be tending to the pet. It's Peanut. So he he is home right now and all that, but she's probably just going to go hang out with him. So we'll uh, we'll give her the night off and let her let her relax with Peanut. So I spent a good bit of the day at the vet with him, but we'll hope that everything turns out okay. So anyway, where's the star? Yeah, that's where she. Let's go Tennessee, Michigan. When's the next flip that truck? That is a good one. I need to get on that. If I wouldn't have, I need to get on some fab work for that. But and that is something that is definitely been a thought recently. I did work on it a little bit the other day, and just but I haven't got to the fab stuff. I really want to do some fab work on it, and I just haven't. So, hope the kitties are doing better. Yes, I hope he improves myself. Columbia, Tennessee. What's going on? Um, it's more of a delay. Hopefully, we'll see how everything goes. No Ripper build tonight. No Ripper build. It's just your deep, manly voice. Perfect. Thanks, Bill. Axial Capra or 1/9 Wraith for your next build. That's a tough one. I like them both. Building a VS410 for Gap. Well, technically, yes, I was going to be building a VS410 Ultra. Since we built a Pro last time, I was going to build an Ultra tonight. But as things happen, uh, plans change, fell apart, whatnot. So I already had one lined up for next week, and so we'll see how everything fills in. Well, she's not here. I'm not going to stay. Yeah, I don't blame you. Look tired. I'm a little tired, but that's why I did make coffee before. Did make some coffee. Lots of bass. That's weird. I didn't change anything. It's my same mic. Hmm. I don't know. I didn't change anything other than I'm running a different, running it through something else, but I don't know. What's going on, everybody else? Ohio, Canada, Oklahoma. Man, Red Wing, Minnesota, and Charleston, South Carolina, Salinas Valley. What about the VS410 Rock Pro in black? We did the Pro not too long, so we I didn't want to do that one, but I hadn't done an ultra on here, so we were going to do an ultra, but it'll get there. Ripper video, Ripper video. No. I ordered a dig for the VFD trans yesterday. Can't wait to install them. Yep, those are on the way to everybody. So I think everybody will be dig happy soon. A lot of those shipped out. Tonight I'm going to work on the Woods Runner a little bit. I also have some more. I have some CAD stuff I want to do on it for myself. Not something that is as good of a candidate for the whole Sunday thing. On Sundays, I've been starting to do some CAD work live to, kind of show people how I do things or what's going on, and I think those are working out, and I'm excited to keep doing that. But I want to redo some of the bed of this truck, and I felt like I could do some of that CAD on here even as well. Mountain Home, Arkansas. Never heard of France. What's going on? Philip Bonnet. I feel like I sold you a truck, Mr. Bonet or Bonet. They have internet in Oklahoma now? Wow. Perth, Australia. Did you see Matt's gold pan post made it to RC Car Action? Nice. Old old school gold pan stuff. That is cool. I'm sure Matt will appreciate the vintage, being that he's old. Um, Indiana, Kentucky. Nice. Yeah, we're pretty busy tonight still. Even I apologize, tonight's not going to be as entertaining. Nicole isn't going to be here, and I don't have an actual kit to work on. So really, if you're not just killing time, oh yeah, bummer about Axial Fest. Agreed, California. It is good to see that they're still going to be doing the Indiana version. So shock towers are some hard plastic on the SCX 10.3. Yeah, those were one of the. If I didn't drive those in with a power driver, those could have definitely been a lot more of a pain. But I cheated and just I think of course I did that whole build live. So power driver, you guys saw it. Somebody brought up an SCX 24. Where was that one at? Where'd it go? Missed it. Oh yeah. Oh, did you get your SCX 24 yet? The right one said. I have not yet, but I am going to. I'm going to pick up another one of those, and I think just mainly for some of the CAD work videos, Sundays live streams, things like that. Just build some things specific. I feel like those the SCX 24s are a good base for a bunch of 3D printing stuff, so it might be a fun use of it. So I think we're gonna pick another one of those up. Maybe I'll find some more desire to work on those. And of course, I'm taking the beginning of this video just as an opportunity to clean my debt. We have uh, we have not been home for very long now today. And so yes, no Nicole tonight. Um, like I said, we're dealing with a sick cat, and so that took all of our attention away. Can you still get the aluminum bumpers for the Origin? We still have some. They will be for sale. They aren't right now, but yeah, we'll make some of those for sale. The sliders are the other thing. Those will be available for sale separately. So for people who want to throw like um, the aluminum sliders on their BS410 Pro or Ultra, because why not? Tonight we don't have a spicy librarian to make fun of my love of Miatas. We get a bearded man to make fun of my love of Miatas. Yeah, that's fine. New Vanquish rings. Did What? Why do you speak of a new Vanquish ring? Do I not know of something that maybe that got posted possibly? I have been absent from social media today. I, I wonder if I should know more. I'm checking something. Checking, checking. No. Hmm. Okay. I don't know of anything. Someone will have to say if somebody said something. Um, there's there's a bunch of people in here and only 24 likes. Come on, people. Yes, thank you. Aren't you from Missouri? Mountain Home is at the top north central part of Arkansas, 40 minutes from Branson, tons of crawling. Oh yeah, that's I, I'm not as familiar with that area of Arkansas. Western Arkansas, I know a little bit better. I've never spent much time in north central or even northeast. Um, I still take my SCX-24 when I know I'm going to be stuck somewhere. For some reason, the 24 scale stuff just never grabbed me as. But again, like I said, I think that if I start doing some more CAD work around it, make a bunch of open source parts and or free parts to do and all that. I like seeing that stuff so much that then maybe it'll ignite that a little bit more. Let's talk about vans, man. The new vans. I'm so excited. Maybe I'm gonna make an SCX-24 that goes in the back of my new Proline van. Anyone see flying cars yet? We can't see it yet. It doesn't come out for a few days. I've ever so flying cars. If you guys don't watch the live takeovers on Wednesdays with me with Matt and I, we watched the trailer for the actual movie coming out called Flying Cars, which is about my video's frozen. Why does it do that? That is annoying. There, cleared itself up. We'll see. We'll see how long. I don't know why that video feed keeps freezing. It's a little annoying on my end, but looks like a standard man is exhausted by his life. Well, by his life, or it isn't what he truly wants. Story. Uh, RC is what brings him to his real passions. I'm actually excited to watch that movie. Like, I really think that movie is going to be entertaining for me. Maybe not in the way that entertaining movies are normally entertaining, but I still feel like I'm going to enjoy it. Now, it's freezing. I'm not doing it. It just stops and freezes. Nothing. I'm not doing anything different. We'll work on it. So we'll see. Go to Thingiverse and print the bomber for the SCX-24. I don't want to print it if I designed it. I know you can download other things, but I want it if I did it. That's when I think that things are cool. Let's see. Um, yeah, I think I need something to put all of my. I've been working on another project that I haven't shown yet, and I've got a bunch of screws and rod ends and bearings and things like that around still, and I need to get them all in one spot so I can continue working on that project. I don't know where my bags went. Watch Wednesday's stream for Josh's initial reaction of the movie. There's some legitimately funny moments that I thought that trailer brought out, and just the now I didn't screen one of the trailers that they had had sent. They sent us the trailer, and then they sent us like three other clips that we could see. And in one of those other three, that we showed two, and then one of them we didn't show, and I watched it after we did it, and I was so disappointed that we didn't decide to show that one because it changes changes so much. Um, I have one 124 scale Jeep, and I gave it to my 9-year-old daughter, and my girlfriend said she uh, didn't want a small one, Yeti Junior. She wants a Rock Racer for the best of both worlds, so I bought two now. What? It must mean larger scale? Admit it, the first trailer looked like it would be horrendous. There was a lot of things about the first trailer that really made me. It was just. It was an interesting way to edit a trailer, I thought. But I'm just saying, I'm excited. Um, Josh, are the bronze methods a darker shade on your Woods Runner, or is it the lighting? Mine are not as dark as yours. These are different in general, actually. Um, these are a different finish completely, and that's why that's why I have these. These were actually yeah, a screw up or whatever. It's one of those weird things, but and it's also it is the lighting a little bit. These do look if you get them in the right angle, they brighten up to actually closer to what you're seeing. But these are also um, these don't have the dust finish, so they're just a shiny, which is different than the rest of the wheels. Okay, what bubbly flavor do you recommend? I tried the blackberry. The blackberry. This is actually cranberry, and it's really good. Pineapple's my favorite. This this cranberry is actually probably up there. Then uh, grapefruit after that. There you go. Show it. Oh, you're talking about that other trailer? I probably can do that. Okay, let's just see if we can do this. 1 second. This is true. Hold on. Media source. Create new. Okay. Oh, let me. Did I delete it? Nope, I did not. Okay. What I don't remember is if there was music. So I got a copyright issue on the actual one that we had before. Man, I don't know that I can show this now. Sorry, I can't actually show it because of I have to actually go back and check some things. Like I said, I got a copyright strike on that video, even though we had permission and all of this. It's just one of those YouTube things. It's just is annoying. I didn't realize the Wraith axle housing doesn't come with a diff cover. Will machined ones in clear be back in stock soon? Possibly. We've had the machine that those parts were on. It's actually been down for a little bit. We just had some very costly repairs done to it, and should be back up soon. And then those could be back after that, but it's a delay before those things actually go all the way through. Need advice on mounting or mouthing just the cab of a power wagon body to I imagine mounting to an element enduro. Gotcha. So you don't have any rear body mounts, so it's just kind of hanging back there. You can get bot. Actually, here's a good example. The front end of this. Let me go to my close-up camera. So the front end of the Woods Runner here. Will it focus? Possibly. So these are just like an old axial mount. I know that this thing doesn't want to focus, but The lower portion of this is an old axial mount that just screws on from the inside. You can see the screw on the inside there, and it goes through and it allows you to then put a body clip in. Now, if I was going to mount just the backside in like a super easy way, I would just turn these 90 degrees and lay them backwards and then put the back of the cab over it, pin down through that, and then have normal body posts in the front. So that might be an option for you. Hating on my grapefruit choice. Grapefruit is a great choice of sparkling water. I'm telling you. Telling you. Way better than you would think. So, um, where can I buy an SCX-102? I think you should be able to find them at a lot of places still. Um, I'm actually going to start a new build with an SCX-102 here soon, which seems odd, right? But I'm going to do that. Let's see. Um, Miller time here. Oh, sorry. You probably got flagged by a bot. I definitely got flagged by a bot because it was instant. And it was because of the music that was detected in there. But we had expressed written permission from the direct. It's a whole thing. Hopefully it gets cleared up. It's not like we ever make any of these videos. They don't make you like a bunch of money, and may a video will normally make you maybe $20, $30 maybe from actual views. On the live videos are great because sometimes you get donations, and that can be obviously much more helpful than the regular ad stuff. But it can count against your account if you get seen as somebody who is using copyrighted music. Often you can actually get in trouble, in the end, if you keep doing it or things like that, or you have multiples of these, they can want to remove your account, which sucks. I've never had one in the past, so hopefully I've appealed it. Hopefully we can go through the whole thing. Ugh, it's just one of those things that's a pain. A bunch of people enjoying some beverages and other items to lighten up their Friday nights. My voice is ahead of the video. That is bizarre. And I've heard a couple of people say that. But I don't have we'll see. I don't have a solution for that right now. Sometimes YouTube just does weird things. Is the Bomber 2.0 worth it? I had the original but sold it. Yeah, I mean the Bomber 2.0, it's not really a 2.0, it's just the new or updated version. It's the same car. So other than some electronics changes and some other little very minor basic updates, it's the same car. So, you know, if you enjoyed your first one, then it's a great choice. If you didn't enjoy it, don't expect anything that much different because it's very minimal beyond that. SCX-102 Builder's Kit or Element Builder's Kit. It depends. The Element Builder's Kit definitely has better shocks. Um, the SCX-102 has a lot better aftermarket. Um, I don't care for the rod ends on either of them. Um, so it's just all over. There's a lot of pluses and minuses. It's a hard choice. Um, Element has overdrive, which is nice, but the transmission's pretty big or good size. I'd say that it's bigger than the SCX-102. You know, it's a tough one. What is the Woods Runner wheelbase? It's 12.3. It is exactly like most scale rigs you use. I've seen it. This is actually using a pretty standard SCX-102 link kit that I installed. The only thing that I had to do is put in a different upper link since it's got the D44 front axle. Other than that, this whole car is pretty standard SCX10 too. Do I work for Vanquish? Yes, I do. I am there every day except today. Today was the first day that I have missed in a very long time due to the sick pet. But now that, you know, everybody's home now, and hopefully everything turns to the better. Um, Not to be annoying, but any word on the 1.9 machetes coming back into stock yet? Yes, we're very close. Very close. My beer assistant is on the way home, but don't let Gas Monkey know. I'll get sued for copying right. Yeah, yeah, we'll both be working on copyright strikes. JJ Customs checking in. What's going on, Jason? Nice, thanks for popping in. Um, I feel like if you're looking for a ripper, your best bet is probably buying a milling machine to make it. That would be, you know, you could definitely find a milling machine. um, do you RC countries sell the SCX10 too? They definitely do. You might want to call and just see if they what they have in stock though. I was in there the other day, but I didn't notice offhand. Oh yeah, hit that like button. Thank you, Moose Jaw. There was the 70s Dodge van that was around my hometown that was painted purple, and the wheels were painted a dark pink. Ooh. So I'm thinking that my first van build, I can't decide 100% yet, but I think what I'm going to do is try and uh, I want to do some sort of cage work in it for some reason. I just have to see one. I have to get one in person, and then I feel like I want to cage something, maybe cut out the rear doors, kind of Baja style almost. Sounds like a terrible idea, but we'll see. Let's see. Um, they cut my monetized status. Yeah, YouTube changed a ton of things on monetization stuff. So a lot of people who were monetized before fell out of being able to be monetized. Ooh, here we go. I need a bag to put in all these other loose parts, and I got a new microphone the other day, and I don't think I need this. Problem solution. I hope your cat is okay. Me too. Hopefully he makes a recovery and it was just a blip. We'll see how everything goes. Nicole is hanging out on the couch, tending to Peanut now, but he seems to be a little bit more awake. Pet's got the cove, huh? There was no coughing and his temperature was normal. And so he was just not very conscious for a day or two. A day. Audio sync was fixed by me reloading the page. Yeah, I think it's just sometimes YouTube doing funky things like that, and it it happened. Like my end, it's there's not much I can do other than I send the stream and call it good. But you know, and while I don't have anything specific to work on tonight, other than me wanting to work on designing up a new rear bed for this, uh, I figure the live stream stuff is fun and relaxing for me, probably more so than any of you. So after a very long day, it seemed like a good, a fun thing for me to do as well. Actually, I don't know why I'm pulling these out. I could leave those in. So in the back of this Here, Woods Runner. Can I switch to this? Which one? Are any of these? No? Why are, oh, that's because I'm on the wrong. So, in the back of the Woods Runner here, it's got just a pretty standard, focus this. Mm. So it's got just this black bed, and that's actually a piece of kind of thick styrene. And what my goal is to actually make a new panel for that. That is, it's got like the actual bed ribs in it. Kind of looks like a factory style bed was, or bed floor was kind of cut up and used. Probably completely unneeded or unreasonable, but I've been having fun with the aluminum work, so why not a little bit more of it? Whoa, comments jump. Oh, it just the RC shop in Fort Smith, Arkansas. I can't remember the name, but there's only one. Oh, sorry, you're looking for someone's looking for a specific thing and having a discussion betwixt yourselves. It's Crown Apple in my very drunk RC build. That'd be funny. Yeah, I think I've done one of those before on accident in a live feed a lot of years ago, but I'm not very good at that anymore. I get headaches. Um, just joining in. What kind of trouble are you causing? We are just a little bit more of a random hangout while I work on one of my other trucks because of other circumstances today. Um, I'd say the new bomber is more of a 1.5 than a 2. Yeah, and actually, it's not even called a 2. It's just it's just the bomber. It's still, it was weird when, so like I got one of those early as I had the video ready to go when it was released. Um, and in any of the documents they sent me, it wasn't called a 2.0. It was just another bomber, which was great. A new livery, basically. I thought it was just an update. And then I saw like Axial used it on one of their Facebook posts, calling it the Bomber 2.0, and I was like, oh crap! So I went back and changed the title of my video to match and say 2.0 because it said it in a couple of spots. I was like, oh wow, change. And then it actually doesn't say it on any of their other things. It was just the web person, whoever was doing it, decided to call it a 2.0 for some reason. So it's just the Bomber. It seems like the 2.2 class is dead, and it kind of it's definitely not booming like it was at one time. 1.9s are definitely the strongest area per se. So, but it doesn't mean that they're not. Just it's still a crazy amount of fun. So that's what Camo X4. Oh, the red cat. I'm not one to suggest much for a red cat. I would say buy a bomber over a Camo X4 is basically a Yeti knock or a Yeti competitor, and I would still say not to. So, um, best rod ends. I use the Vanquish or the Incision ones on all my stuff for the most part, and they work well for me. They don't break. If anything, they'll stretch. Get some stretching them over time, and so then I'll replace them. But that's about as much as I ever do. So they work pretty well. They don't really let me down as far as that goes. It's just a one of those things that's a maintenance item, replacement. Without Axial Fest West happening, no Bomber 2.0 here for now. Yeah, if you're not don't have something you're specifically wanting it for, it's not something you're looking forward to just taking out, then I get it. Um, I'm getting a VS410 Pro tomorrow. Any recommendations for a brushed motor? If you're just looking for like a super smooth setup, you could go go with like a Holmes Hobbies, either a 13 turn or a 16 turn of the 5 slot Crawlmaster motors. The the Crawlmat now that's about the speed of like between a 27 and a 35 turn of a normal motor, but it's going to be super smooth. So Crawlmaster, either 13 turn or 16 turn. Those are my two favorites. Best kit for a Jeep Gladiator body. I just haven't found like a really good Gladiator body that I really like. So, you know, the wheelbases just don't seem to be right. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't have I don't, unless there's another Gladiator body I don't know of. Um, when do you think will be the release of the STX 10-3 Raw Builders kit? Oh wow, man, I am guessing no time in the near future. I think that what we'll likely see is another 2 or 3 or 4 releases of Axial SCX 10-3 body versions before we see a builder's kit. I'm just guessing that that'll be a while. Hope your cat is okay. Thank you. You know, when those pets, man. Wow, my comments are all over the place. we're catching up. Um, do the Incision 10.2 drive shafts compatible with the Element? I believe so. Um, your dumpster shelf is not level. It looks like that, but it is level. It's all 3 of those are level. Actually, I see why. My tripod there. Now my tripod wasn't level. I moved it. And while it still maybe not look perfectly level, it's the skew of that wall compared to how we sit. Like my whole table is skewed at like 25 degrees to the back wall. So it goes away as anyway. All 3 of those shelves are perfectly level. I can't tell you how much it did bother me though when I was trying to set everything up and I was like, man, in the video it doesn't look level. I'd go back and I'd check them. Everything's good. Grr. We're catching up to the bottom. I'm kind of far behind. It keeps jumping on me. Um, when is Vanquish going to move to a better state? Yeah, Vanquish is in Roseville. Roseville is actually really nice, plus short drive from sick trails and lakes. So yeah, well, Vanquish is on Roseville Road in Sacramento, so it's not in an actually nice area. The shop itself, it's in kind of a sketchy industrial area, but but it's still you can still see the mountain, so not too far away from awesome stuff. Let's see. Sorry I'm late. I'm still at a bar. I'm still at a water bar drinking Long Island's. Kind of jealous there. On the on Sunday CAD stream, can you do a bomber skid for a 3 gear? I've been wanting one for a while. That would be cool. So that's probably not one that I would do personally because I'm not a big fan of like regular 3D printed skid like that with the link mounts and everything all 3D printed. It's not something I would normally suggest, so it's not something I would want to then draw and put out there. But if you watch enough of the streams, you should be able to dive in and draw one, right? So it's not that tough. You can get it. We'd be more focused if the queen was here. We would be, but like I said, she she is tending to her baby, her sick kitty. Um, Crazy Crawler or Crawler Innovations 2 stage and why? I see a lot of that Crazy Crawler foams now, and I just that's why I stick with I don't know. I stick with Crawler Innovations. I just feel like they've been doing it the longest. They likely have the best. you know, it really got a formula nailed down that has worked every time for me. So I, I just the crazy crawler stuff with the old school style star cut stuff, I just not for me. What ESC would you team up with a brushed crawlmaster? Um, I mean, like a Tekin FXR is such a nice little compact ESC that you can get pretty affordably, and so much tuning to it. That's a great choice. Uh, if you want to go more inexpensive, you could pick up like a Hobby Wing 1080, which is such a solid, inexpensive ESC that is hard to find right now, though. So that's a little bit more difficult. But when you go brushed, you can find some fairly inexpensive ESCs that do a good job. Um, Best brushed ESC right now is probably Hobbywing 1080, says Alex. I say it's a really good ESC. I wouldn't say it's the best one, but it's a really good one for the money, especially for the money. It's such a good option. The 1080 is the FXR is probably what I would rather run, but it's going to be more expensive, considerably. What different link did you use for the D44 in your Woods Runner? The front upper link. Now the front upper link, that link actually comes with the D44 axle. Uh, so that's the only one that's different. Now the drag link and panhard in this are different because it's a custom uh, front steering servo mount and a custom panhard mount. So those things were already done. And those two items I did not change then because they actually have a couple little custom bends to it for the best clearances. Um, so I didn't get into even worrying about changing those. Um, I wonder if 2.0s would fit on the Scout 2 without wheel bite. I don't know what that means. How about some 3D printed wheel wells for the trail honcho? That's an option, not a bad one. It's a big part. So part of it is that on those Sunday streams, trying to design something in that block of time, a full wheel well setup, especially front and rear, or left and right side even being different in the front because of panhard mounts. It's a lot of stuff to try and cram in there. That's a that's, Josh, you got suckered into Cali via Vanquish. That is true. It took the Midwest and moved me here. But you know, there's there's some good with the bad. Does Vanquish sell parts at their shop, or you have to go? Uh, yeah, you have to go through distributors if or dealers like hobby shops if you're trying to buy, locally. You have to go to like RT Country or Fast Track Hobbies. We don't allow pickups at the shop at all. It's just a manufacturing facility. There is no, you know, we don't have a storefront. We're industrial complex stuff. So not any type of retail storefront. So yeah, we don't allow pickups or any of that. Let's We're going to jump it down a little bit. Do you go with a smaller size foam than your tire? 475 use a 450. Why are people doing this? Um, some people do. Some people like a little bit more of a gap. I use a 475 tire and a 475 or 475 foam with a 475 tire normally. The only time I've ever done differently is if foams were hard to find at the time, like they can be right now. Then I've put a 4.5 foam into a tire, but not generally. Not something I generally do. Just picked up two TorqueMaster BRXL. Those are the BRXL ESCs are actually pretty nice. I didn't know you could still get them. So yeah, the BRXL was always a great ESC. It's a super capable. I mean, that's a full brushed, or sorry, a full brushless capable ESC even. So usually that's when I was trying to suggest something that was maybe a little bit less expensive than going full BRXL, uh, which I used to run a lot of when for brushless motors. I still say a 7 slot grill for the class two. That isn't. I actually don't mind the narrowed grill on that thing. But the other thing is that doing body pieces like that, those curves are so they're not like normal CADs. So that is a big thing for me as well, is that, doing CAD, I can I can do a ton of things just without much of a having to think much about it. But when you start getting into like body work and things that have like kind of not organic, but more of that, you know, stylized shaping, that more, curves and round, it's like a whole different world to me. And it's just not where my strengths are. Like trying for me to do body panels and that is tough. And that grill kind of falls into that even. Um, did I miss anything good? I was watching the play cats. I was watching the play cats on YouTube. Oh, who made the new piece you put in your axial bomber, the rear axle mount? That is High Altitude Performance out of Colorado. Um, Casey Child was the proprietor. Um, Hitting the Finder is 2.0 too big for the Scout 2. I don't want it rubbing. 2.0, I still, your question isn't making any sense. Hitting the oh, must maybe mean hitting the fender is a 2.0. You must mean 2.2. Too big for the Scout 2, meaning a Gen 8. Man, I'm making a lot of assumptions there off of stuff that I'm assuming is wrong. Um, a 2.2 tire is typically going to be much larger, which typically is going to mean you're going to get into a lot more clearance issues, which probably means you're going to rub the fenders. So it's probably too big if you're not looking to do a bunch of trimming. Um, you should build a BRX-01. I will not do that. I am not. I've owned boom racing stuff in the past, and a kit from them is not one that I'm going to do. Not something I would want to. VFD Dig ETA. I believe they're in stock right now. They were in stock all week. Um, if they all sold out, that's a possibility. There was a bunch of them. So slightly smaller works good for a single stage closed cell. Actually, Jake is correct on that, and I believe I did do that even on the bomber, which you're probably right. Michael Kubotika's in here. Michael, I hope you're feeling better as well. I know you've been in and out of the hospital, so hope you're doing better, my friend. Uh, what's your thoughts on 8 scale crawlers? I think big scale crawlers are always cool. Um, you know, 8 scale, 6 scale. Now, at the same time, while I think they're cool, they're not something that I would like. Like, I'm not a fan of. I know what's the Founders RC makes one, or sorry, no, Traction RC makes one, but it's called like the Founder. But being that it's Traction Hobbies or whatever, it's not one that I would choose just because it's just another one of those companies that doesn't have support I would be comfortable having behind it, and the parts quality in general not that great. So it's just not. It's just not one of those situations that I'm a big fan. My new seat mounts in here. I 3D printed this system so that I can pin them in with 2 pins. Granted, I only had one in there at a time, but I can quickly remove these things. So, and then the seat base still stays in there. Makes things a little handier to get in and out. Before I was actually having to like double-sided tape them onto the base and then just rip them off and put them back in. And this thing I've been putting together, pulling apart, putting together so many times just to try and get all of these parts fitted exactly how I want that it's it makes to it makes for a lot of that. And for me to usually build a car how I like it, it's a lot of this. Put it together, take it apart, put it together. So we're gonna take the skins off the side for right now because I think rather than completely disassembling this bed for tonight, I think I can get almost all the measurements I need by just pulling the fenders off. This is one reason I do love buggy style builds, when the panels bolt on separately. I like the nature of that and how much fun that makes these builds. So let's see. Hello, fellow persons. Is the Vanquish Dig transmission compatible with an SCX-10 too? The standard 3-gear Hertz Dig is, not the VFD one. The VFD, you can't drop that into an SCX-10 too. It takes a very specific, it's made for the VS410 chassis. So, hey, Casey Benson, $5. This towards new tires. This is towards new tires. Thanks. I like my tires, but no, thank you. I'll put that towards the hefty cat bill that came today from our full day at the vet. um, let's. Did you see the teaser on Element's Instagram showing the driver's door of a new truck? It had IFS. Oh yes, the new Element truck coming. I thought that was actually going to get released today, but didn't. It said there was some website issues. So yeah, looks like an independent that their independent suspension kit underneath of their truck. So looks like it has 155s on it again, which I'm not. The the independent suspension from them is kind of cool in a way. Like if you're really just looking for the style, performance wise, I'm not a big. It just has it takes away so much clearance. It just so here. Let's do this. Hmm. Is this charged? Yep. So it's very bright right in my face, but whatever. Um, very annoying. Anyway, so at like normal ride height, there maybe the IFS even has a little bit more clearance under here, like just based on the amount of room between the skid plate and the ground versus the amount between the pumpkin and the ground. But as soon as you hit any terrain and this goes down, like you now I have maybe less than a quarter inch of clearance at times. Like this is always going to be the same clearance. No matter how it moves, you're always going to have the same. This one, this tire just goes up. Now you draw a line from one tire to the other. Like you have almost no clearance in spots. It's just, and it's not really going to, maybe it'll do a little bit better at speed, but I don't know. Not entirely. And steering's always going to be a little bit of it steers pretty good, really good for an IFS, but I don't know. I think it's really cool if you want to try and mimic something that's IFS already. Beyond that, I don't know. Now that I've stared into that light directly for 45 seconds, and I'm sure I've missed a bunch of comments. But good comment, Moose Jaw. Appreciate it. Uh, Fast Track Hobbies in Rockland has the messiest shelves. It looks like they just throw their part. Huh. Well, I know things have been busy. Maybe they got behind with how busy the times have been. Um, got the green light for Axial Badlands and Horizon Hobby Fest. Nice. I am gonna. I have a fear that we're not gonna have any California events this year, and I'm gonna have to travel out of state to go get my fix. How much longer do I need to wait for an 11.4 links? I know. I need to get that done. I need to get that done soon. I agree. I ordered my dig yesterday. 5 minutes later, confirmation was sent that they got them. Oh, you must mean for your order to have been gone out. Um, Did anyone turn on the Matt signal? I don't. I've been talking to Matt today, but I didn't even tell Matt about my whole day. He just next week you need to drop a bumper dumper. Oh my God. It was like a bumper dump, and then I remembered exactly what a bumper dumper is. Well, drawing a toilet seat might not be that bad. I can manage that. Let's Man, I swear my comments are all over the place. It's like jump up and then I realize I'm above everything else that I'd said before. Any idea when the RockShox housing for the SCX-10 are coming back? Those are in production. Uh, IFS is just cool to have in the collection, fun to drive. Agreed. That's kind of what it's for. Like if you're really just looking for something else to kind of change things up, then it's a good option. Um, Traxxas Canyon Trail 1.9s or Proline High Racks. High Racks. Although the Traxxas Canyon tires are still a great tire. I would still go with a high rack though. And even if it's Predator compound, not my favorite, but still a great. I mean, still a great tire. Do you think Axial's trying to unload Wraith 1.9 by lowering the price for the new 1.9 bomb? No, I don't think you're going to see any 1.9 bombers or anything different there. I think that it's just the Wraith 1.9 is very similar to the SCX-10-2, which is an older platform now. So I think they're just lowering the cost and moving things along. But where's Nicole tonight? We have been dealing with a sick cat for the last day and a half. So she is tending to it. I was at the vet all day with it, and now he's he's doing okay right now. So she's tending out there. What is the Woods Runner based on? The Woods Runner is based on a full size build. Um, about it was called the Woods Runner. I it was a let me That's actually an interesting um, Pirate 4x4 Woods Runner 800. Let me see. I'm gonna switch over to this is kind of a cool thing, so I wouldn't mind. Let's see. I need to go to window capture. Yes. No. Add new. This one. Okay. So this here is what the original Woods Runner. I know we're blocking me, but that's not the important part. So this is what the original Woods Runner was based on. Hold on just a second. So this guy who was out of Colorado, he had a Scout 800 and he cut it all apart. You can even see the color of this one. Kind of had this cool patina. He modified the chassis, did a bunch of work to it. He was going to actually put an international engine in it at first. I think that the plans for that changed later. But keep scrolling. Now here you can see the chassis work. This is what I based the original design on. Is just looking at his chassis work and going from there. You can see like the. Let me go back to OBS. You can see the B pillar right here, how it goes down, but then it's got this straight section behind it. So it goes up, kind of came back before it went down, and then it crossed the that belt line bar, which that's how this one works. See, goes down and crosses over. Then there's this brace that goes from the belt line down to the B pillar, which is right here. Kind of went down. So go back. This build is super cool. The style of the whole rear with those rounded corners and the area for the tail lights. Mm, this is all detail stuff. So you can see the front end here and how it's got this, cage around the front. That's how I did the original design of the templates. And then I actually prefer the style that was done on this build here, which is slightly different. Um, it doesn't have that it doesn't have that cage style that goes around. It's got this narrowed up style that just has these front areas and the shocks mount to that. That works a lot better in RC, and it's not necessarily an uncommon style in the full size either. It's just different than how he did it. Um, so that's how that part worked. And then I'll cut to the. This is a long build thread, so I'll try and. There's some great pictures here, seeing how the style of this was and how I tried to gather some of it and bring it in. There you can kind of see a good profile shot as how this thing was turning out. I thought it just looked so cool. Now this build tip was from 2013, which wasn't long before I decided to try and replicate it. And we'll just go to the last page. Well, there's no picture on the last page. Let's see. See, it made the picture of Crawl magazine. Narrowed body on it, just like on this one here. Hey, Corona coincidence? Think not. Um, we'll go back a little bit more just because there were some good kind of finished up. It's more of the yeah. This was not a very long build thread in comparison to how long many of them went. Okay, so here's like just some good shots of it in action. And it was just this thing had such a clean old school style with full body panels, because normally when you get these buggies, they end up just putting flat sheet metal panels on them. And I think that this one just had so much more character. Can't see the screen. That's see. Yes. Um, my bad. Well, this was the good page to go to that had the actual pictures. So this was the finished pictures of that once more. Seeing that we see you scrolling. Yes, I see how I screwed up again. This whole good news is I've gone to I've got dual monitors coming for in here, so I can always have one show. I'm continuing to change this setup so that I can improve not screwing this up so much because it's easy to do with how I have things set up right now. But anyway, this guy was a talented fabricator and something that I thought that truck was exceptionally cool. So that's where it came from. Studio bell, ding ding. I know. It's saying it is like, but I see your guys' comments. I'm like, oh, gotta go back because the delay is so long that by the time you say it, I've already been doing it for 60 seconds. You know. So let's see how many comments that I missed while continuing to not do things properly. Where are we at? Um, see, Jesse's saying bring Ripper in for an interview so we can once again explain to the people why parts take so much time. I don't think he likes to talk on camera, especially. I guess I'm still running the old axial trepidors on my 1.9 rate. Ooh. axial traps. Those were not. I mean, those were they didn't work very well in the Midwest for me. They just filled up with mud and just stayed like that. Honestly, seems like the axial capper is the best buy right now. For me, it's just not. I feel it needs so much changing to me right now. I don't like the transmission at all. Feels like it needs so much at the same time, and I just feel like it's a little bit lacking in areas. So I don't know that it's the best buy in my opinion. It still has a lot of potential once you do a bunch of stuff to it, though. Is the CR12 or Barrage any good? The CR12, I was given a CR12 at one point, and my friend Brandon's son, who's 2, drives it constantly and just beats on it, drives it into a wall, keeps the throttle pulled, and it just keeps going. That thing, that little CR12 from Associated is one of just the best little bang for the buck kid crawlers. Would you build a completely custom SCX 10.2 base chassis, flat plates, low CG portals like a Toyzuki or G Speed chassis? I would build an SCX 10.2 instead of a flat plate chassis. This is a this is an SCX 10.2, really. It's an SCX 10.2 chassis with some cage work welded to it. It's got an SCX 10 3-gear transmission in it. The rear axle is a centered style SCX 10.2 axle. It's just a D44 from VP, but it's basically just a standard rear axle. The front's different, being that it's an offset, but that's just for style. Other than that, this is an SCX 10.2, and this rig is so freaking cool to me. Um, and I can't say that I think that you could make a flat plate chassis as cool. I just don't think you can. Not to me, anyway. Where is Nicole? Nicole is tending to our sick cat. Are you subscribed to any full-size rock crawling channels on YouTube? Yeah, I don't feel like there's a ton of like really great full-size rock crawling or custom fab content like that. It's hard to find. The place that as far as like what I watch the most, as far as that stuff goes, is Dirt Every Day on Motor Trend on Demand. I like following those guys, and that's been as much as I follow a lot of it on Instagram. So, uh, what setup do you recommend for proper clearance in videos? What? Uh, so your hand clears. I was so confused by your question. Oh, that was great. Good work. Good work. Let's see. I would totally add the bumper dumper. Crohn's problems. Nice, Mike. I will tell everybody that or tell her that everybody said hello as well. I'm scrolling all the way to the bottom to catch up so that hopefully it keeps scrolling for me. So if I missed you, we'll come back. Will the light bar you have on the Woodrunner fit a Capra? I don't know. I don't know if it's the exact same. I'd have to measure. But this is a 4-inch. Let's see. Is it 1, 2, 3? Yeah, this is a 4-inch light bar. So, um, let's see. If you want to build a Samurai or a Jimny, the Barrage is the one to go with. Oh, like if you want the really short wheelbase. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. You messing with my truck again, Andy? Trying to steal it? What's my favorite Instagram page, and why is it freaking RC? Oh, my favorite ones. That's tough. Honestly, my favorite pages are probably meme pages. like like 6,100 memes. Um, my next, sorry, I'm gonna stop saying try and stop say it. SCX10-2s are cool, but how long do they really stay in SCX10-2? That's always a thing, but if you go crazy custom with something, how long is anything? I mean, my VS410s stay way more stock, I guess, just because they're so built out of the box. But that's not necessarily something everybody's going to do. So it's kind of, I don't really know that it matters what other factory truck I buy. I'm going to change the crap out of them. So picking a kid is so damn hard right now. So many choices. That is so true and just a fantastic problem to have. How much does your Woods Runner weigh? Uh-huh. We can get fancy since I'm just here to have a good, relaxing time tonight anyway. Let's see. Dirthead. Love those guys. Yes. Dave Chappelle and Fred from Dirt Every Day are awesome. Yes, like the video for Nicole. There. I'm gonna plead to you like one of those people. I think yeah, he'll be fine. I, we hope, right? He'll be okay. So I've got my fancy corner scales out, so we can now. I don't have a battery in. I guess I can throw a battery in. Let's set the body on. We'll do that. Switch to this. Set. Well, man, I got so much stuff out of this thing right now. Throw the nose cone back on. Put our feet back in. Pin it in place. All the way down. He can rock 412 or Holmes Polar Pro. Man, I've got about an equal number of both of them probably. So I don't know that I can choose. The V2 Polar Pro is so good, but I run a ton. Did both of them freeze? Why did that happen? Now it's open. Hmm, interesting. Um, what shocks am I running? These are team associated shocks actually. So put the body on. We'll just lay the rear fenders across it. And I could grab a battery. Eh, I'm running those little batteries anyway, so we'll save without that. So it is currently set up at, well, it's basically 60-40 right now. So 60% front weight, 40% rear weight, and a total of, what's that, 78 ounces? What's 78 ounces into pounds? The answer is 4.88 pounds. Well, that doesn't seem like enough. Let's zero it, make sure. No, not zeroed properly. There. Resetting. Okay, now we're getting there. 100 116 ounces. What's 116 ounces into pounds? 7.25 pounds. This weighs 7.25 pounds. So there you go. Now, actually, after it zeroed itself, this actually shows it closer to a 50-50, 49-51, but no battery in it. So once you put a battery in it, a little bit more front biased, but pretty balanced overall. So there we go. And now we did all that work, and now I can wrap up my. I guess you can't see me if I go to that. Let me disable this camera and reactivate it. It's doing stupid things. But I do like this little corner scale setup. This is from Guy RC. Can't remember how much it was, but it wasn't too bad. Besides the wheels themselves, what other VP parts do I need to install them on an element? Well, the hubs. You need hubs. Um, Depending on, if you just want like a pretty close to stock offset, just get like a 350 hub. That's pretty basic. But that's it. Unless you're running incision wheels from Vanquish, then those come with the hubs. So a little bit. Don't forget your driver. Oh, I see what you did. What are my thoughts on RC four-wheel drive King shocks? King shocks look good, but do not perform. So if you plan to drive your truck, I do not suggest. Are you finishing? Are you finished with your 1.9 Wraith, or are you going to put the solid axle back under it? I don't know. I have to decide that. We'll go run it more and make a decision. I feel like the solid axle should go back under it, but we'll see. Um, no problem, Brittany, on the weight. Oh shit, I went blind. Good work, Peters. Um, you guys at RC Country or at Country Hobbies? You mean RC Country Hobbies are super helpful because those guys are for sure. I love RC Country. Do you know where to find 3-inch curved light bars? No, I think the only curved light bars I knew were Proline, maybe, but I don't think there was a 3-inch. Seems like you're not going to get very much curve in 3 inches. Sushi. Would you happen to know when the VS410 Ultra kits will be available? Early next week. That's my goal. Any opinion on Charisma RC? So I had the Coyote firsthand, or the SCA1E Coyote, and it seemed like it was built so much lighter than like an SCX10. And, an Enduro is built pretty minimal, I would say. Um, there's some chassis flex to it and things like that, but I still feel like it's built better than the Charisma. I know the Charisma is more popular in other parts of the world. but I don't know. Kind of just not one of those ones that I'm super. $130 on A main for the scale. Ooh, I think those went up. I don't think they were that much, but a lot of things are going up right now from overseas, so that could be a thing. Let's see. When are we going to see working dash stuff? No, that's it's still a goal. Let's jump into. I want to have some productivity on this thing tonight as well, and I could use the practice on the CAD side as far as like doing it in video. And since tonight is kind of a wind down, relax, hang out thing. Yeah, there you go. Chibs just said eBay has the Sky RC corner scales for 89. I think that is where it was when I got it. I definitely would not have been interested in a $130 scale. That is way too much. It is a fun toy, but it is not worth $130 for me for a crawler. Like if you're a racer guy, then sure, but not for a crawler. I got it just because it's like a fun gadget to have, and if it would have been that much, I would have said no, thank you. Okay, where are we at here? Was I reading the scales correctly? It's hard to say. Probably wasn't. I wasn't paying enough attention. Um, I literally just bought one new off eBay for 99 ship. Yeah, again, yeah, I think that's definitely where they should be. You know, one thing I hate right now. I've got the with my new dash. How I put it, it's touching the top of my spur gear. So if I move it, listen to this. So I need to readjust my CAD a little bit to fix that. um, I think it was 50-50 side to side. I think you're right. I don't think I paid any attention to what the front to back weight bias was. Whoops. No wife tonight. Sweet, my comments are going to get ignored. Thanks, Paul. I read that one. Productivity. What's he said? See, it jumps. And I missed it. Completely gone. I laugh at the other racers who use those at the track. At this scale, the physics of weight shifting and ounce aren't exactly needed. At the track, maybe I could see it. Like for me, I just have it because it's fun, but that's it. I picked up an RC four-wheel drive trail finder and it had been converted to a four link. Should I keep it or go back to lease? Keep. Somebody fixed it for you already. Keep it that way. Oh, great. Here we go. Josh shows off his copy paste skills passing on as he. So, what I did, I've got a couple of things here. One is that I have a new keyboard up there with macro keys, which we'll get to soon, but I don't have it programmed yet. So, I'm using my old one still. But I removed all of the hotkey controls on this. So, I can't hit the buttons that I was before to just manually switch the view. So I should have it. So as long as I select it, move it to where it needs to be, then it'll be okay. Watch 4x4 action on YouTube. Aussie crawling at its best. Aussie crawling is like a whole different world. People they build just crazy, weirder stuff over there. It's not how we compete. It's Australian rock crawling. So different. Um, that will self clearance. Yes, it will. Thoughts on the nylon panel ripper? Oh, sorry, the 3D printed ripper panel. I think it's cool if you want to just get something else to kind of beat on. Um, I think they were like $295 for the hood and the sides, which is, I mean, a lot cheaper than what the metal replacements would be. So that, metal replacements are going to be three times that almost. Will Vanquish come out with parts for the SCX-10 III? Yes. Will I ever run a leaf sprung truck? I haven't before. So what's the difference between a Pro and an Ultra? Portals and mainly, and then some other 80 mil shocks, centered gears in the transmission, and molded motor plate. That's about it. Um, Never ditch your hotkeys until you get one, till you get new ones set up. I know. So I know. I had to now though, because for CAD, I'm always using the number keys, and that's what my hotkeys were. So I can't, I can't have it right now. Would you run an outrunner motor like a revolver motor or the Three Brothers yell? I mean, I would run a Holmes over a Three Brothers. Hey Josh, did you get your splitters for your Mitric RC for your light kit, or did you just solder wires together? I didn't have to. There was enough open positions for the light set that I was using that I didn't have to do any splitting. So for me, it was enough. Thoughts on the MST JP1 RC body? See it right there. That one. It's a cool body. MST does a crazy good job on bodies. Hop, skip, jumping, Josh comment. Yes, it is hard because, well, it goes, and I can only see it. Nicole is better at it because that's all she's reading. I'm trying to do all of it. What about more products for TRX4? Maybe some shocked. There's certain reasons certain things get done over others. Can you get a DUI with an RC truck? Guess it depends on how big. Were you sitting in the truck? How how fat? Where were you driving it? Can you list the parts VP left off the VS410 Ultra that were on the Pro and any other upgrades you would do besides the dig? Oof. I would suggest sending me a message on like Facebook or Instagram through my Harley Designs pages, and it would be easier for me to give it to you there. Thoughts on Fly Sky radios? I avoid them. I've used or been around them in the past, especially at events, and they have issues with a lot of people around, and that's, Spectrum radios can be had pretty cheap. Those aren't a radio that I personally use, but Spectrum radios can be had for a pretty decent deal. I would go Spectrum over one of those any day. So maybe an option for you. Um, you know, have you have you ever looked into the Fly Sky Noble radio? Is that the one that I had used last was like the big like 6 channel touch screen Android based one, and it was not good. I did not like it at all. I had it so that I could make like steering wheel adapters for it and things like that, and it was so weird. Just yeah. This weekend would have been Pro Line by the Fire. Exactly. Would have been so much fun. Granted, if we would have had this cat issue that we've been having the last couple of days, I wouldn't have gone. So, because I would have been all day today at the vet anyway, and then we wouldn't have left him. So, I would have missed Proline by the Fire. What are your thoughts on Power Stroke big bores? Power Strokes are great shocks. Proline Power Strokes that I use them on 2.2 side stuff. I don't know. Maybe I've used them on 1.9, like Go Fast stuff that my Ultra 4 I built one day, but other than that, I don't usually use that size on 1.9s. Have you ever tried using a Sandwall radio? Yeah, the MT4, which is a good radio. Not one that I personally use or like or choose to use, but it's a good radio. Sanwa makes nice stuff. I know Airtronics had their issues, and now it's all Sanwa, but they make quality stuff for sure. Mr. Splendlove is here. What's going on, Josh? Have you seen the new DX5 Rugged in green? I think that's my next radio. So did they change or update how the UI was on that thing? Because that was always the thing with the Rugged radio, that the programming button assign was just so bad that people said it was so hard to use them. Like the DX5C was just so much better. But I mean, you would think I would want, like to use the Ruggeds. They got an orange version, right? On a Sunday night CAD, can you design an adapter for a 7PX for a Vanquish wheel? I mean, it's partially why I wouldn't want to. So all the CAD design I had done for those wheel adapters, I had sold all of that. So like one of those things that, oh, I'm frozen. Thank you. I don't know why it does that. Activate, deact, hold on. I don't know. So weird. Um, are you jealous that I have my tactical hit bag on the way? Uncultured peasants called them fanny packs. um, any other good websites to get crawler parts besides AMA? I mean, there's tons of options. You can get, RPP is super popular. There's a ton like Power Hobbies. Oh man, I mean, there's you can find crawler parts all over. Scale Nats is a go currently in November, November 6th through the 8th, I think. What's your opinion on the RC4L Drive X4? No, don't. Okay, let's draw something in. Let's draw something. I'm gonna switch this over. Fusion. And, oh, there it works. Do I need that one? I don't need that. So let me add one other thing in here. No, that one. What will it? All right. We'll get this sorted out. Anyway, so what I want to do is I want to kind of work on changing up the rear bed area on this. Do you ever get burned out? If so, how do you get through it? I, I don't really get burned out per se. It's just like if I'm burned out on one aspect of things, then I just feel like I can change what area I'm working in. If I'm burned out with just wrenching on something, then I was doing that. Just trying to get it to just go to my other camera, but it's not wanting to work. I'm going to change one thing on this camera. See if I can. Sorry. So I'm going to have missed a bunch of comments, but I was considering reminding myself how to use Fusion tonight. Ironically, I decided to just jump on and watch you instead. Oh, weird. Good work, Andy. Um, I recently got a Wraith 1.9 running on 2S, only upgraded to a slightly better than stock servo. I plug the battery in and I hear the servo whine, but it takes almost 30 seconds before I have any control. Ooh. That sounds very odd. That sounds like a radio problem. I really like using Indigy parts for all my RC. I feel like you're trying to troll us. Do you have a problem getting line magnets to snap on a circular tangent in 360? Sometimes it does act a little different. Usually I just snap it somewhere and then end up doing a constraint myself. But let me, so I'm going to try and go back. Try this one more time. We may have a bigger issue anyway if I can't get my camera to come back on. So let's, on this screen, just working on configuring one or two things real quick. Canon. So, okay, close enough. That's what we're going to roll with for now until maybe, or maybe not, my other camera comes online. If not, we're going to end up having to cut things shorter anyway. So I'm going to work on just grabbing some general dimensions. Demeasurements is what I was going to say. Combination of measurements and dimensions. So we're going to go 156 millimeters long total. And I'm going to hit L to start a line, and X is a hotkey to make it a construction line. So I can just do some basic things to start. And I could have keyed that in, but I'll make a dimension by hitting D. I'm going to go 150, what I say, 156 millimeters. Starts that. Then measuring the rearmost portion, we're going to be at 95 millimeters. L again for a line. I'll take construction off now because this will be an actual line. Selecting that and making sure it's on the center point by adding a constraint. All the way at the front. What do I have for width? 155 millimeters. L again for line. Dimension 55. Center line. Now, it is basically a straight line between them. So I can close that. But at the same time, I do need to go back in and then we'll add the cutouts for where the wheel openings are. Taking a second to get caught up with a little. I'm going to miss a lot of comments while I'm doing this, but I kind of want to take a look at this again. Josh needs a vacation, cat issues, and camera issues. I know, right? We'll see. We'll see if that works out. It does. If not, we'll kill this stream and I'll go back to working on this CAD thing anyway. So looking at a couple of other dimensions, I need to, at about 20, 5 millimeters up. So I'm going to do the line, L for line, X for construction. Oops. I'm going to make sure that that's at about 25 millimeters. And width-wise, I need to bring it just on the inside of the frame rails because I have to dodge around a tube. So that is 65 millimeters. So, and then you can go in and add a point. So from the menu, drop down, add a point on the midpoint and make it coincident with that construction line. So now I just have, I know these points that are kind of out here are where I need to snap to. So again, I'll hit L for line. I don't need to do this on both sides because it's, but I could mirror it, but I'm just doing it the other way. Add a couple of, I didn't add a dimension across the backside yet, which I needed to do. Thought I did that. I'm going to say 95 millimeters. There we go. Outside of the frame rails on an SCX-10-2 are about 75 millimeters. So let's do a bunch of these. Hello. Good.
Oh, this looks super boring.
Oh, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You...
Happy Friday.
For some reason, let's see if this works. Hold on.
Oh, no, I'm not here to help.
No. You're not here to help at all?
Just let you that. Say happy Friday.
See if it works.
No. Broke it?
For some reason, my main camera isn't working. Blowing it solves everything. Yeah. Well, that was as much Nicole as you get tonight. And honestly, I'm gonna have a major issue if I can't get my main camera to work. I don't know. If you guys hate watching CAD, then we'll just kill the stream because I don't think that I'm gonna be able to get my other camera to work for tonight. So that will be, oops. everybody say hello to Nicole. She pops in and then leaves. That's what she said. Oh, she got it. BT gave us $20 for the cat. Thanks. That will start to make a dent in the enormous bill that the that the cat is going to rack up for us. Yeah. Oh, the joys of pet ownership. I'm sure all of you are quite familiar with. Well, many of you, not everybody. Some people are not pet people. I get it, but sometimes you just gotta spend a boatload of money on on a pet, right? Oof. So these long lines I'm drawing are going to be basically what the outside of the frame rails are. So we can kind of adjust those wherever we need, but it gives me a point. Down at this end down here, that's where I kind of went in further to this point. I'm going to go around a tube that notches in there, so we'll make more sense of that in a little bit. Like if I want, I can just draw a line like that. Now, if I draw a line from one side to the other, and then just hit X to make it a construction line, and then make it horizontal, that way I know they're equal. I can drag this up and adjust those. Ooh, fancy. Um, Spend a couple of minutes reading comments. Just talk. We're still here. Yeah, some of you will be. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Shove your face under the camera. I don't even know if I can get down. I turned the other camera off and back on. Didn't even work. I'm a teacher. I love functional lectures about software I don't understand yet. Hey, cool. I have a lot of teachers that pop in. It's always fun. Please don't kill it, Josh. My wife is getting an Ender 3 next week. Nice. Getting your first 3D printer is so exciting. Ender 3s are such a good entry into it. They're so cheap now, so easy. God, such a good one. Took the dog to the vet today, and he's got a butt hernia. Oh, yikes! My cat, my cat King ate a styrofoam peanut once. I don't know how. Oh, I know how fun vet bills work. Man, what's wrong with the cat? We don't really know. It's yeah, we don't know yet. We took him. We'll see, and I don't know. He was basically last night. He became just like unresponsive to to us, and basically you could kind of barely get him to open his eyes. It was scary, and he's come slightly out of it, but not totally at this point, and that's just we took him in. They gave him some shots. Oh shit! Whoops! It's a good thing you guys can't see the other video feed. It's a rough night here, guys. Cup of coffee on an iPhone. At least it didn't get any electrical, right? Quick detour. Oh, nightmare. The good news is it just laid on all the electronics rather than making it to the floor. Good thing it was empty. Good thing it's water. No, it was hot. It was bean water, hot bean water. But we got it. Jesus. Time to update to an Android. Oh, you watch out. Was there an earthquake near you? There was at 4 a.m. this morning, actually, but it was in Nevada. Did I spill coffee on my camera? You would think. I should see this is why I should stick to sparkling water. I spilled sparkling water last night, even in the whole midst of this whole cat thing. And it was just sparkling water, so I was like, okay, that's not so bad. Not a big I don't usually spill that much. Do I print when I'm in the studio? Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I do. We're gonna go back to the actual drawing now. Yeah, I print when I'm in here. It doesn't bother me. Sound or the smell. So did that. Take another quick measurement of how far the wheel well needs to go. About 35 millimeters. Mm, that 35 millimeters is where the start of this wheel well needs to be. Make sure that oh, that's weird. Make sure that point and those touch. Again, we're going to drag a construction line across just to make sure that everything matches. Now the only thing is we need to figure out where this line needs to go. My cardiologist doesn't charge me as much as my vet does. Yeah, you know, it's hard to say when to stop, that's for sure. So on this one, it dives in fast. What I'm trying to show at this point is that um, where the front side of these wheel openings come, it's I want to carry that in and down a little bit more, give myself a little bit more floor area. So taking some measurements, I'm going to go to like right now it's at maybe 60. I'm going to go to like 75 millimeters from the front side to where I end up taking it. So what line I'm talking about is this one here. Right now it's probably, whoops, it's closest to, why does it say that's, it's about 60 millimeters. So it's about there, but I want to take that line and move it back to 75. So it just flattens out that wheel well opening. That will give me a little bit more room to play with. Add a dimension down here, which was that line that we just want to go around a tube with. I think we need to basically be about 40 millimeters to the top. We were 25, so I need another 15. Seems a little much. Maybe we can get away with 10. Yeah, the Ender 3 is a solid starting point to 3D printing, especially it's like $220 right now. Then, all right, so this is this base template that I've just drawn. I've drawn all these different lines that'll show you why. So you go in, you hit extrude up at the top to make something. Now the profile, I'm just going to click in here, and you can see it takes all the inside lines. If I wanted to, add other areas, I I could add, I could click there and create that area, but I don't want it. This is exactly what I want. And then just for I'm going to be making a stamp mold with this, so I'm just going to go like 4 millimeters for now. It doesn't really matter the thickness for me. I'm just going to be able to go with that. Now we're going to add my favorite tool. I'm going to add some fillets. One on that side, one on that side of like a 5 millimeter. Whoa, that was 55. That is way too big. Got it. So I just wanted to kind of round out that corner. Let's see. I have two labs within 2 weeks. Both had ear infections and one had a damaged eye. Playing with the other one. Oof. Know all about the vet bills right now. Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, we'll see. Maybe he'll snap out of this and we won't end up with those astronomical vet bills. Our vet's good. They've been fair to us always, but you know, can always end up being something crazy that just adds up and gets you. So, being that I'm just wanting to design a floor, I don't want a super just simple stamped floor like this. So I'm going to go from here next. We're going to add another layer on top. And I want that look of the, a stock style truck floor that's got like the raised ribs. So I'm going to go with a 4mm rib, I think. I'm going to create a construction line again. So L to start the line, X to make a construction. And then we're going to go create a point, put it on the midpoint of our first rib. Put it on there. So I'm going to just kind of make sure that it doesn't get ever closer than 5mm. I'm going to do the same at the bottom. But then I'm going to go in and do a pattern, rectangular pattern, which is fine. I'm just going to select, and rectangular pattern would normally be to do like a grid, which I don't plan to do. I'm just going to go one direction for now. I don't know if it'll let me do both directions. I think that it will. Quantity, direction, so distance, I'm going to do, what was this whole thing, 150? So it's only one direction, so let's just say 60 total, and then we'll crank up spacing. 5, I think that'll work. 4 of those. Oh, here we go. Symmetric, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. We'll just crank that number up. About like that. So the only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a couple of, start L for a line, deselect it as construction. Oops. I'll show you why I'm doing these. So I created a couple of lines. I'm going to use the parallel button at the top and just make sure that the two lines that they're next to are parallel. D for dimension, 5mm again. I'm just going to use this as a cutting line so that those ribs don't run into the wheel wells. And I think basically this gets a little too tight down here. My little bit of a concern, but I could do something even fancy. Do it like that. I'm going to use the center point of that radius that we used. Make this a maybe more than that, 25mm. Yeah. Then I can use the equal constraint at the top, make those the same. So I'll show you why we did all that. We'll go to extrude again, finish sketch, then extrude, and I'm just going to select all of these areas that I want. I'm going to skip I don't want this area here either. So we're going to go up 2 millimeters. So that kind of has the look of a bed floor, right? Maybe, and maybe 2 millimeters is too much. Maybe just a millimeter. No, let's go with two. Let's stay with two for now. What we do need to do is put a chamfer everywhere, though. So at least on, well, no, we will need to do everywhere. This can take a little bit of time, especially since I don't have, well, actually, we're going to cancel that. First, I'm going to go in and add some radii, because it will make things a little bit easier in the next step. And it'll smooth everything out. It'll get sharp edges like that don't work great for stamping. So we're going to round all of this out. But then I'll be able to go in and I'll be able to click to add the radius stuff, and it'll go all the way around, or the radius, the chamfer, and it'll go all the way around all of them. So it'll make it way easier when I get there. It needs an HD stamped in the center. That's a good idea. We've been doing that on all the live feeds. So I've got a couple of other things that I want to do like that in this, as far as right now I'm putting this, I'm putting these ribs everywhere, but I'm going to go back in and make a couple of changes to that once we get some of these basics done. Well, I'm going to go through that whole creating a stamped process in this, is my plan anyway, unless you guys get so bored that you all take off before we're done. So did that. I'm going to add just a 1 millimeter radius to all of that. So all that did is, you can see, it just smoothed all of those out. They kind of got that rounded look. And now we can go back in, add that chamfer, which is going to need to be 2 millimeter, but I can select here and see it goes all the way around, which is perfect. So I can click one time and it knows how to go all the way around the entire part. Saves us a bunch of time. I'm going to do this everywhere, all the pieces. Distance needs to be 2 millimeters. Okay. So those look kind of, those too fat. Do we need to make them narrower? Could you have done the radius and chamfer to the first one and then arrayed them? Well, I could have with like the top edge here. I would have arrayed, and the bottom here, but it wouldn't have worked in these areas. The chamfer would have worked, but the radius stuff wouldn't have worked, like where I had to cut them. So yes and no. And it's just one of those things. It's like, as you're drawing, you can just keep drawing and going, or you can try and keep thinking of those things always. A lot of times it's just how you think. Like for me, it's easier to just think simple. Like draw the blocks. Now the blocks are done. Now what do you want to do? Okay, add the radius. Do that. Then add the chamfer. That way you're not having to keep trying to go all the way into your whole design process. You can just think about it one step at a time. That works well for me. So, have you tried using a vise rather than hammering the panels, just thinking it might leave the panels less dented? I did it first, and I've got a vise here again now. The problem is that sometimes I've got a good sized vise, but still the depth of the vise isn't always enough to get all the way down and around. So I do have a vise here. We could try it. But yeah, So yes, it is a possibility. And I did try that first. So I went with 4. Let's go to 3 millimeter. That looks good. I'm thinking that the ribs are too pronounced. I think maybe we should go to 1 millimeter tall. I think I don't need it to be like this crazy overly pronounced thing. It's just like a detail. So let's go to 1 mil. 1 mil tall, and then we need to adjust that chamfer to be 1 mil instead of 2. Now that looks a little better. That looks more truck bed floor than before. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Run it over with the Jeep. That's good. Um, Flat metal plates so the vise distributes the pressure more even. That's also an option. I just have to. It's like they'd have to be so rigid to the vise to not have any flex at the top or bottom to make it actually even. So yeah, that's the little bit of a tough part. But since what material am I? I'm just all these stamps and all this stuff is just PLA. Super simple, crazy easy. Holds up fine to these stamp panel things. It's fine. It doesn't need anything more. Should we tell him that this truck would have had a wood bed floor? It did not. I currently still own a Scout. It has a metal floor. I don't know that it has truck style ribs in it. Oh wait, shit, this is a C10. I forgot what truck this was. Wow. Wow. Needs some type of hydraulic press. I would be good for that. Okay, so we've got this part. Right? Right. That's what we have. Now, I'm actually, I'm fine. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Now I remember. I have in the bed of this thing currently, I've got a couple of detail pieces and panels like this this radiator setup with the aluminum mount that I made and the RC four-wheel drive fuel cell. And I plan to keep those. And since I know where they're at and how I want them, I can design in some relief areas to this design so that they have a perfect area to fit. And I can make it nice and perfect. Now it is going to take a little bit away from our design, but we're going to create a sketch on that top plane. And I'm going to use a rectangle. Just draw a rectangle shape in general for now. And then we're just going to take some basic measurements from the rear. And it started at about, call it 35 millimeters in the back. So that takes it to there. Kills me everyone calls the C10s on 4x4s. Yes, the C10s were the two-wheel drive and the K10s were the 4x4. But the truck actually call them a C10 truck body from like Proline, which I know not correct. 22 millimeters to the front, call it 20 just to make sure that we've got a little bit of breathing room. Now, what did I do for spacing on my bracket is another thing. Because I can just, let's take a wheel guy and make this simple. Froze again. Man, my both my cameras are freezing, which makes me a little worried. Man, they go freaking Hercules on this. What did I tighten this with? Well, that's bizarre. Should have the camera should be fixed by now. So I'm measuring the spacing of the bracket that I made. And it's at about 38 millimeters of spacing. Now, from the where the actual holes are is at, we'll call it 30 and 38. So we need to make using the C key for circle. Click equal to make sure that both of these are the same. We're going to make 3.2 millimeters, so it easily passes through. And I forgot where I said that needed to be. I could have swore I said 38 millimeters. I think that was width. I think this needed to be 30, and these were 38 millimeters wide, which I already had right. Wow. Line and then X for construction. Oh, I need to make sure that it's locked in the center. You can see when I can move them side to side, it won't point. Oh, line. So just locking stuff in place. Oh, I didn't. Oh, I don't really need to say how wide that needs to be exactly because we'll be able to. Well, or do I? How wide is it? It is about. We're going to call it 60 millimeters wide. What does that look like? So it's going to get into the end of that one a little bit. We're just going to. So rather than. So you can see how it kind of gets into that one a little bit. So I'm just going to finish this sketch without actually doing anything. And I'm going to go back to our previous, where that was. And let's just say this is, let's just make a 27 millimeter. Try and get it out of the way. And now it clears. So I just moved that back a little bit to make things so that I didn't have that issue. Now the whole point of this was to just got a little area where it didn't want to cut. Just select all of it. What is that? Oh, I see what it is. There's a little bit of that circle that was overlapping that it didn't want to cut. So I'm just trying to make a nice area for this radiator shroud that I made in the back to sit down and fit without having to mess with these. Well, I'm going to look at the comments for just a second. Looks like most of you guys are discussing between yourself, which is great because since I'm only PLA Pro for 3D Fuel, the best of all worlds. My go-to filament is strong as PETG or ABS and heat resistant. I have to look at the PLA Pro. Like PLA Plus, is that the same thing you're talking about? What makes PETG better than PLA for your final parts? You're speaking to Alex specifically. I use PETG for a lot of my for some of my higher stress stuff. But I actually haven't used the PLA Plus. Um, PETG is a little gummy when you're trying to like smooth it or things like that. So let's do, I'm just going to throw a 1mm chamfer on these to make the mold a little smoother. Doesn't have the rounded corners like the other areas, but it'll be all right. Now the only other thing I was going to do is make an area for the fuel cell. Oh, and we drew in those holes there. So I want to go select those. Cut through. And I'll use those. I'll come up with a way to make the alignment areas for those work. Or maybe I'll punch them through in the 3D print, or in the print, so that I can use them as pin alignments for the final part anyway, since I usually do that. Okay. The RC4 drive fuel cell is roughly 40mm by just under 60. So we'll call it 42 by 60. Okay, not PLA Plus, PLA Pro from 3D Fuel Matter Hackers. Huh, calls it strong PLA. Okay, I'll look up that PLA Pro. I bought stuff from Matter Hackers before, so yeah. So again, we're going to make a sketch, go to the top. I said 40, 42, 60. So it's going to fit right between, so we're just going to go to 70. Just to make sure that we completely block out one of those. Now we need to position it at about 35 millimeters from the front. Nicole's yelling at something. I don't know what. It's weird that it's not. I don't know why it's not letting me select that. That's weird. Hold on. Let's there we go. So now it's making that cut. Now at the very bottom, I can actually move that chamfer that we did previously, and then edit it and just add some more. Oh, of course, it doesn't want to let me do it. Oh well. I'm just going to go in, clean those up a little bit more. 1 millimeter. So I think that's kind of what this thing's gonna be. Now it does have a couple of mounting screws in the bottom, at 50 millimeters wide. I had them at basically 65 millimeters back. Make one more cut. Couple of holes. Why it's Make sure these two are equal. Again, I'm going to make them 3.2 millimeter, just so a 3 millimeter screw falls through them easily. Make sure that they're 50 millimeters apart, and that it's 60. It's not the dimension I typed at all. 65 millimeters from the front. I'm just making some constraints to make sure things go where they're supposed to. There. So that's going to be what our new bed floor looks like once this thing is stamped. And now I look over at the comments, and people are somehow talking about competitive yo-yoing. That is impressive. So this is basically kind of how I start these when I'm trying to come up with a stamp. I create what the part is going to be first. Now I don't know if that's the hard part or that's the easy part. From there, I'm going to start a sketch based on the bottom, just because what I need to do now is I need to like make the brim around this thing. And we're going to see, is it going to let me? See, yeah, it will let me offset. So we're just going to do like a 10 millimeter offset around the outside. That's plenty. I'm going to do that. Then we're going to take that whole area and I'm just going to make it 3 millimeters. I'm going to give it a little bit of thickness just because it's a big area that I'm going to have to press pretty hard. Now I initially did 4 millimeters up, and that was too much. So I'm just going to do 2 millimeters there. So that brought it all down. I think that'll be plenty. That's because you leave us to our own devices. Yes, there's no librarian swearing at you for talking about. Although I think she would be into competitive yo-yoing discussion much more so than my. We would never be able to get away with this if she was here. She would not let me do CAD on the internet. She would call us all way worse names. So one thing that I've done previously when doing these stamps is I didn't do hard edges, but I've actually been having a little bit of success with that as far as making for good trim lines. So I'm going to leave those. What I am going to do is get rid of these sharp points, though. Um, I'm going to get rid of those there. That one isn't that bad, but we'll still throw a radius on that. I just don't want the sharp points because I think that they will have a tendency to want to puncture our aluminum when we stamp it. So with that, these two are pretty close together, so yeah, it's going to blend into one. That's with just a 5 mil radius. Let's go to a 4 or 3. Go to 3 mil radius. There we go. Makes things a little easier. I'm fine with how that looks. Now, the tough part, or the tougher part, is making the top. How to take care of a sick cat. And I think she's just basically laying next to it. I think it's more for her than for him. Funny how traffic highway questions don't come up when Nicole is not here. Exactly. How is that, right? How is that possible? I'm going to see if somehow, if our other camera will come back online. It doesn't appear so. No, guess it's just not going to work for us tonight. Oh, wait. There it works somehow. Although I am very unimportant to this process, I agree. Okay. I just feel like it's a little bit more of a thing this way. I did try plugging it, unplugging it, and plugging it back in. That was one of my go-tos. Okay. So we got that. Now let's do the echo. Sorry. Okay. That should have fixed the echo. Ooh, sorry. I don't know how that happened. Double audio. Waiting for it to fix itself. To go through. Echo comments, echo, 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 echo. I know. Hopefully we've caught back up. Huh? Maybe? Josh say, this is dumb, just so it feels like a regular Friday night. There we go. I think Josh would benefit from a dedicated microphone as an audio source. I do have. Like, this is. Oh, and then it froze because it's garbage. And I'm doing it in a stupid looking face, which isn't hard. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we're just gonna. I should just put a picture of me up there, and then that is going to be the stupid face you guys see. It's me. All right, let's get back to finishing this mold. I'm gonna make the top side. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hit construct, and I need to make an offset plane basically from here. I'm just gonna drag this up like 20 millimeters for now because I can move it later. So we got that. We're gonna make a sketch, choose that plane that we just created. Basically, I need to make an offset sketch of what we have there. So I'm going to, will it let me? Sometimes you have to get like under it for some reason. Or it won't even, it might not even let me. I think that there's supposed to be like a convert entity or something like that. And honestly, this is just me not knowing Fusion as well as some of the other programs. So if I knew that, I would probably be able to do it way better, but it won't. It's okay. It is what it is. We'll figure it out. So I'm just going to draw a super rough version of this around it. And I don't have to be very exact is the thing because we can use a bunch of buttons to get things all aligned in a second. So I created that sketch. Now I'm just going to go in and grab the parallel and I just select the lines that everything's next to. And sometimes I don't know why it's saying that's over constrained. Oh, that was the previous one. So couldn't you duplicate this and cut it out of another extrusion? Can you duplicate it? So I could, but I have to offset it. So I don't want it exactly the same. I need room for the material or the aluminum material to be in between them, and that's the part that. So I need it to be offset, not just a body cut. And I'm positive that there's likely a faster way, like a convert entity in SolidWorks. So, because here, right now I'm going to do it the brute force way and do a bunch of 1 millimeter 1 millimeter dimensions for my offsets. And this is going to give me enough room for my aluminum to go between the mold, so that it's not, if there's just not enough room, you're just going to have this, forcing or bending things out of the way, which just isn't going to work. So if this is one of those things that I should just be looking up the method to how to figure it out, since I know I can do it so fast in SolidWorks. But now I need to add these radii as well, and I don't necessarily know what they are. Oh wait, I remember some of them. I was going to use the measure tool, but I don't have to do that because I think we made these 3 millimeters when we did them. So I just need to make them 4 millimeters. Those, and we did these. And it's going to see. That's why this is sometimes a pain. So 4 millimeters should give me the accurate amount there and down there, but this one I had to delete. It didn't work out. So 4, top screen frozen. Yep, like norm. So done with that thing. Turn it back off. P is project. Ooh, see? Who was that? Dan K. Painter. See? Live videos are perfect. Love it when. Thank you again, Mr. Painter. I will use that again here shortly. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Now, I think I did 5 for that, so I think this is going to be a. Oh, it's an inside though. I must have been. So what is a 4 mil? Yeah, I think that was a 5 millimeter, so I need to be at a 4. Oh, that one is not going to be at a 4. So that's an inside radius. It's okay. So it puts these little symbols by things, which is the constraint that's on it. So you can delete those off of there, and that's what I just did. Actually, that needs to be a 6 because I believe that was a 5 mil radius. Right. So I've got all that done. Can you draw like that, but better? You can get rid of my cameras now. Just get rid of all of them. I could, right? So I'm going to use that as my first one. We're just going to go up 5 millimeter. So now that created a second body, and that's just because it's separate. There's no way for it to attach, just is what it is, right? Simple. Now, I actually will need to turn it off so that I can continue to draw easily. But I'm going to go back to that plane that we created because I need to draw more on it to make room for all of these little things. So we're going to use that P for project. That let's see if I do all of that. Selection, projection, link. Oh, interesting. It gave us basically everything we needed. That's a very handy thing to have. Now I can just do this and we can go 1 millimeter. I can flip it to the outside. That is a pain. Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to select them all first. No, it won't let me select multiples. Ugh, really? Never. Offs. Why is it? So we need to offset all of these by -1. But honestly, this will make things much faster for us now that I was taught the simple project key. Oh, -1 is +1, see? Math. And we're almost there. Shouldn't have added so many ribs. Or I should have decided to do half of it and mirror it, but I was feeling lazy or not lazy. One or the other. Happy little CAD parts, yes. Just a happy little metal stamp we're making tonight. But it will be fun to see this added to. Now, what I have to decide is whether or not. So I'm adding a bunch of these metal stamped pieces to this Woods Runner, and what I can't decide is if I want to paint them and kind of, paint them and then almost like scuff them like they'd be used, almost weathered, almost like a scale guy would do. What? Okay, so we created all those. Now I need to select all of those paths. So many paths. Closer. All right, so we've selected all those. We're going to go up 1 millimeter and we're going to change it from a new body to a cut. So that it cuts into the bottom of that one. See, we've got the start of that. And we're going to go with the chamfer tool because we need to put a 1 millimeter chamfer into all of these to match. Oh, actually, I think I can just hit the. No, it's not letting me hit it. I thought I was able to just hit that surface and it would do all of these sides for me, but I'll get back to that one over there. Oh, I know what I can do. I can just turn off the original body. Brass. Josh loves brass. See, I'm reading the comments enough to see that crazy comment. Wait a minute. I offset 1 millimeter. Oh, am I selecting the right one or am I selecting the wrong one? Oh, think I think I'm selecting the right one. I can't remember. We're going to find out in a second. I might have selected the wrong angles to be adding this to, or the wrong, but I'll show you why. If I screwed up, it'll be a good learning experience. Let's make sure that everything is done. Does appear so. Okay. So now we have the negative. I'm going to turn the other one back on. And now there's a move tool up here. And do that, select this, and then we're just going to bring it down basically on top. Actually, I'm going to go negative 19 millimeter. Nah, we'll go negative. So I've got them right on top of each other. Then there's this, you can go back up to the inspect tool. You guys can't see the drop down and that sucks. But there is a section analysis, which is what we're after. We're going to select this plane. And then what you can do is drag through it. So actually, we're going to do, I'm going to cancel that. I am going to make that move a, so now I have the proper clearance. This is how close they would be together once we're actually stamping. So again, we're going to go back to inspect and then drop down to the section analysis. So now as we drag this, we can see what kind of clearances everywhere has. So you see how, okay, I grabbed the right area. Now you can see how there should be basically an equal area that this thing can have for the metal to be everywhere. See, we're in good shape. It worked out perfect. That is exactly what we needed for that. We're not totally done yet, but so that gets us that. We're going to create a plane based on this top one. P for project. Again, I can't thank you enough for that. Now we know this portion. Finish, draw that. I need to make sure that let's see. Yeah, that should be to there. What would you say is the most frustrating part you've ever printed and why? Man, things used to be so much harder to print in general before. I mean, when 3D printers were more difficult, like most frustrating part I ever had to print was probably like an V8 engine back in the day, but I could probably print it no problem now, faster, better, cleaner, and it wouldn't even be a problem. But it's like 3D printers are so much better now than they used to be. The software that controls them is better, just everything. So I did that, but I need to check one more thing to make sure that we inspect section analysis. Nope, wrong plane. Yeah, okay. So I wanted to make sure that I offset it the right amount for this area to make sure that that step was correct. It looks like it's nice and consistent all the way around. Perfect. So the only thing that I want to do now is, let's see, this. So I like to put holes in the aluminum so that it keeps everything keyed together properly, makes everything aligned well. And since I have 4 holes that need to go in this anyway, we're just going to use those. Um, Trying to find where I drew those. There's the first one. There was the second one. So 1, 2. Let me select these. No, through. Since those were on 2 different sketches, it didn't want. Sometimes it's. There we go. All right, now we've got our holes through both sides. Probably thin up this bottom just because for print time. I don't need that thing to be so thick. And that was for that one. Edit. How much to edit? 5. Let's go 3. Then, so rather than -7, I'm going to go -5. So we're still good. Since I took 2 millimeters of print height off, it's just that's a big area, and 2 millimeters of print height is what, 10 layers? It's just I cut probably an hour or 2 out of that print time. And we're done, really. I'm just going to run one more section just to make sure. Yep, we're good. Everything looks super even. Damn. All right, we're done. So I'm going to try to turn this camera on one more time. I don't know. For some reason, it won't do it. Started watching, expecting some RC talk, and it's been all about computer stuff. I'm a damn techno-tard. Oh. Yeah, it was computer stuff about an RC car at least. But that is going to do it for this one because this part is ready to print, and I'm going to do that. Get everything ready to go and call it good. Since I got to figure out why my cameras aren't working now anyway, which was plenty frustrating. So thanks everybody for hanging out tonight. It's a good night for this, regardless of how the rest of the day went. So anyway, we had a good crowd still. I didn't looks like I kept some of you still reasonably entertained, but that's all we got. by up there at that camera. So anyway, I'll work on getting this whole thing situated soon. See you guys Sunday for a more specific CAD video in case you're still haven't got enough of that. But if not, we'll see you guys next time. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.